Man, you've been really courageous in your opportunities of taking advantage of ways in which you can really give a relationship to grassroots individuals wanting to do some positive things in the community. Today's event is really one of those particular areas that you emphasize more time and more relationships with. Why do you put so much effort into that?
Well, listen, it is where you touch people the closest in the neighborhood that matters to me as a public service. You can do all the big projects in the world, but unless you touch everyday people and affect their quality of life, to me, you really haven't hit the mark. And so every day we try to grind in the neighborhood to touch families and children to try to improve the quality of life. So this is a town facility. We open it up for the organizations that don't have the resources to buy big halls and have their own space. And it's an incubator for these kinds of activities. And that's what public service is all about. And so we're just delighted to be here, my wife and I, and along with you, who give them the kind of media exposure for donors and others who want to volunteer and get involved. And so this is how we build and grow community.
It's an effort that you constantly have been involved with. It's not part of any type of political campaigning, but you are a candidate for Congress, and there are some issues that are relevant that needs to be really established. One of the issues that people are concerned about is that if you are to win the position, then what really effectively is going to happen with the leadership that you've been able to build here in Irvington?
Well, I'm not going anywhere. I will be here in the township of Irvington. I'll just be a congressman, and I will be working locally continually. In fact, I intend to make my congressional offices community centers where the same spirit that we brought to the mayor's office will be brought in the congressional district offices here in the 10th Congressional District. And I'll work with whoever the mayor is to make sure that they stay on a trajectory of community engagement, community involvement, so that we touch everyone in the community.
Qualifying as a candidate has been a number of different legislators from the city to the state, and of course what's happening from your type of responsibility in terms of growing populations and communities. When we look at the relationship of your candidacy, it's been said that it would be an uphill battle. But we also recognize that many of the individuals that have elevated to the position that you are seeking have been in the particular pedigree that you are. Do you think you have a better advantage than the other candidates?
Well, I think, I don't come from kind of an elitist or an aristocracy of a family business. Congressman Payne started out against the odds. And, Peter Rodino was a legend, the whole Watergate impeachment proceedings, all that. But he persevered and kept moving, which is the spirit I bring to everything that I do. So people are going to be surprised, I think, with the kind of response that we get. And part of this campaign is not to have the endorsements of the big names, the political establishment, because that's not what's going to make the difference. It's going to be those faith-based institutions who have invested in me, and I've invested in them. It's going to be these community organizations, and I'm going to bring that kind of community activism that launched my political career back to this congressional campaign. And it'll be interesting because I'm going to be all over, and I'm not taking any community for granted. And, the voters of the 10th Congressional District. Now, one of the things that should happen is we should have an open primary in every county. The county chairman, and I'm actually going to ask all the candidates that to make this a level playing field, no political boss should go in the back room and decide who gets a line to give anybody any strategic advantage over how voters will be able to select the candidate. Union County did the right thing. They're allowing for an open primary. So, and the other counties, Essex and Hudson, there's some rumbling going on in Hudson about it, and there's still quiet as kept some rumblings in Essex about it, and that's why people are running. And part of this campaign is about bringing democracy back to the people, letting them have a voice and a say in this campaign and in this process.
Now, lastly, the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act seems to be going to become one of the preeminent areas that is going to have interest in relationship to legislative control and judicial control. And an activist court has been always an issue that has been focused in terms of it being liberal-minded. In regard to what's happening with the objective of moving to another level of commerce, when it comes to health care. Do you think that the president's plan is going to succeed the kind of scrutiny that's going on in the judicial process?
We will soon know, because the Supreme Court will soon decide. And I think as a congressperson, I'm going to be engaged in, if we win, we're fine in educating people how to take advantage of the Affordable Care Act. If the Supreme Court decides against the mandate that everyone has to have coverage, then what are the alternatives and options available, and creating those alternatives and options? Right now in the congressional budget, there's an assault on Medicare right now. And so those are the kinds of things that, as a community, we have to engage our congressperson. I hope to be that person up on the Hill. But in addition to that, we've got to look at some community models. And we've got to do, and I'm going to use that congressional office, as Congressman Payne did. He did put a major emphasis on bringing community health. He had his health forum every year. Those things will continue. They may be more community focused in every community in the 10th Congressional District, because I bring that orientation to the office, and I work with the mayors to make sure those kinds of things happen.
Thank you very much, Mayor.